For me, the first day in the field was somewhat comfortable, I guess, just because I was used to talking to people all day, every day. It was a little bit different feel, but overall wasn't as bad as I thought it would be. It really was. It was a lot of fun going out, meeting new people, getting to know them, and approaching them in a non-threatening environment at their business, and knowing it's something, working with them with something they already have.
And how did you know where to go?
Looking for places to go, I started with areas I was comfortable with, regions that I already knew from growing up in the area and things like that. So called on businesses that I was familiar with, comfortable with, and just went to every other business around there. If I saw a business that had an open sign in it, I would just walk in and start talking to them.
So you didn't necessarily focus on any type of merchant, you went to all kinds of...
Yeah, I really liked that this industry was not restricted to one type of industry type, that it was wide open. You could work with any type of industry, and just help any business owner that you came across.
Did you have a lot of success in your first month?
Yes, I feel like I did, in comparison to a lot of people in the company that I could see, different tracking and rankings. I was able to go out and sign quite a few deals my first month, and be in the top 10 for sure with the company.
I actually closed 8 deals my first month, so I just I just went after people that I knew, and then I would go to their neighbors, and I just so 8 sales the first month. I was very pleased with that.
How did you know where to go?
I didn't know where to go. I just as far as where to go, I literally I drove all over. In the previous company that I had, I did sales, and so I went to all those businesses first.
In the beginning, it was really difficult. For the first couple of weeks, the merchants that I particularly went after were merchants that I either frequented or knew. My hairdresser or the flower shop around the corner that I went to, or the bar that I went to on the weekends. Those are the places that I started off with. Now, is that necessarily the places that I'd recommend going to today? Not necessarily. The businesses that I always enjoyed going after were those businesses that were off the beaten path, those businesses that nobody else knocked on their door.
Well, I have this funny thing I do. Every time I walk into a place, I get $5. That's how I started. I would say, if I walk into this place, I don't have to sell them anything, I get $5. And so then I would, pretend I got $5 for walking in. So I tried to do as many as I could. So at the end of the day, I'd have, $200-300. And then by doing that, I would actually get some sales. And so it ended up being I'd get $200-300 for the day.
So when you first started, how did you know where to go? Where did you go? What types of places did you go prospect?
I just went door to door. Door to door. I didn't drive very much. If a building was there, I'd go next building, the next building, next building.
My very first day, my first week, first month, it was very nerve-wracking, but at the same time I was excited because it was something new, something I'd never done before, and it was going to be a challenge. And that was a challenge that I took upon myself to actually conquer and learn something from it. And since then, it's just it's been a great run for me.
So how did you know where to go when you first started?
The first few places I went to when I first started were people that I knew. If I knew somebody, I went because I knew that was the best place to learn from without being too nervous. But after about the first week or two, I just went door to door and didn't kind of judge the business from the curb. If it looked bad, I didn't want to go in there. I went into every single door that I wanted to because you never knew what you were going to find behind that door.
So what type of merchants did you prospect in the beginning?
In the very beginning, like I said, it was people that I knew, small retail shops, a lot of automotive businesses, mechanic shops. Those seemed to be the easiest ones to get into at the time. And once I got comfortable with those, I moved up to bigger businesses, restaurants, and hotels. A business that's going to have high volume, including banks as well.
Did you have a lot of success during your first week?
My first week, I actually signed one deal, and it was a pretty decent sized deal. And at that time, I didn't know it was a good deal because I didn't know what to look for in the industry. But after submitting the deal and getting a call from the owners of the company saying, how did you do this, and what did I do? And I said, I didn't do anything special. It was just walked in the door and got lucky.
The first time I cold called in the merchant services industry, it was more no's than yeses, and I think it's because I didn't know what I was talking about. I was very green in this industry, and but somehow I ended up having record months from what I was told, and ended up doing good. So it's one of those deals, they tell you to go out and do it and just cold call and see what happens. And I mean, a no's not going to hurt you. The more no's you get, they say, the better off it is, because it makes you want to go get more yeses.
It was challenging for me to not know everything, but something I'd learned in sales is just, when talking to somebody, being honest with them and just telling them, I don't know that, but I'll find it out for you. People really seem to respect the honesty, and so, I had a lot of success overcoming objections by getting back to people.
Okay. And how about you, Kelly? When you first started, tell us a little bit about that.
I was very timid, and at times the thought of going into businesses seemed overwhelming and scary, honestly, but I knew within myself that I could do it, and I knew that I just needed to find within myself and build some confidence, and I could absolutely accomplish it. And there were absolutely times where, as silly as it sounds, I had to pep talk myself in the car before going into a business just to build my confidence, because there were so many things I didn't know, and this was new for me. I had never done outside sales before. I'd always been in a retail environment, which is very different. But I found very quickly that if I was just myself, and if I had a good attitude and a smile on my face, that people would receive me well, and I didn't have to have all the answers. And I quickly learned that I could absolutely do it, and that it was a fun and challenging career where meeting new people and coming across new businesses and then signing the deal was so exciting and absolutely worth it to overcome any scariness or timidness on my part.
Can you give us an example of the pep talk? I'm just playing with you.
I can tell you.
Oh man, that was good though. Huh? Okay, did y'all have business cards ready to go when you first started? That's been a kind of a tough thing for some people. That you don't have them ready to, pre-printed.
I know when I came into it, I did not. I went from, having business cards to not, and that was a transition for sure. But the response I got was, when I told them my business cards are out right now, I have some on order, they were like, oh, that's fine, here, just write down your name and number. And it didn't seem to be a big deal to the merchant. I think I made it a bigger deal than it really was.
When I first started, as far as what type of merchants I prospected, I went after everybody. I didn't discriminate. I just went up one side of the street, down one side of the street. It would hit every business, big, small, whatever. I didn't care. As long as they had a pulse, I went and saw them, In the beginning, overcoming the no's, in the beginning, honestly, people would say no, I'd be like, okie dokie, just walk out and just go to the next one and stuff. Obviously now I've developed that a little bit more and better technique and stuff now. So.
Well, let's talk about the better technique now. What do you do now? I guess when you walk in and they immediately say I'm not interested.
See, now when people say I'm not interested, I'll be like, hey, I totally understand. I hear that every day. But what is it you're not interested about? You're not interested in saving money. You're not interested in getting your money faster. Not interested in getting better service. What is it you're not interested in? And try to ask questions back to them.
Overcome the difficulties in the beginning by asking questions from some of my coworkers, managers, and even the owners and our sales support team. Because that's the only way to learn. Is you got to ask questions, and every day there's something's gonna happen that you're not gonna know what to do, and you have to ask questions to overcome that situation.
It took me a long time to understand competitor merchant statements, and there's sometimes I still look at them and think, what in the heck am I doing? Because some of them are just odd and I don't understand them, but I figure it out. I call the office and I'll get help. And then a lot of them is just the more you see of them and the difference of them you see, you can figure them out. So that's kind of hard question to answer because there's some I still don't understand.
It took me quite a while. It amazed me that I felt like every statement I got looked a little bit different, and it would have a little bit different wording, and I could see similarities with different statements, but it definitely took me a while to feel comfortable like I knew what I was talking about. And I definitely would take the statements home and in the evenings look over them and really try to compare them and find things that I could recognize. And it was good to have communication with the office, and they were obviously always willing to help me and help me feel like I could decode them and figure out what they were really saying, so that when I did go back to meet with the merchant, I felt confident that I knew what I was talking about.
When it comes to merchant statements, when I first started, I struggled with them, but I had a lot of help. And then as I kept picking them up and doing some training and stuff like that, now I pretty much know how to read a statement.
Okay. But did you let that slow you down?
Oh no, because the sales support I have is unbelievable. The bank card group has the best sales support ever. I mean, from the top down to the bottom, everybody helps me. And if I can't get a hold of somebody, even the big wigs, they help us out.
The most efficient way to get started, and I give this advice to everybody, is just hit the streets running. You know, go into every single door possible. Always ask for referrals. If you sign up a business, go into their neighbor and say, hey, I'm working with so-and-so next door. This is what I do. I'd love to help you out.
For me, the most effective way to get started is just to get out there and get in front of business owners. One thing that really, I think, held me back when I first started was thinking I needed to know everything before I could talk to business owners. And I quickly realized just being out there, visiting with people, sharing with them, my true intentions of wanting to help their business was received very well, and a lot of the objections I thought I would come across just didn't come up. I was able to sign deals and help businesses, starting out just without really knowing anything.
I would say that what makes someone the most successful is the ability to utilize all of their resources. Every manager here is an open book and is willing to assist someone with any question that they may have, but the ability to utilize their resources as well as their scheduling, because all the representatives in the field set their own schedules. And the ones who go out and set their schedules on a week and say they're going to be in, various cities, and they repeat those cities and they make sure they go back, those are the ones who are the most successful. Just to know that you're not going to learn everything overnight. It's going to take a little bit of time because there's different pieces of equipment out there. Merchants are different. Just utilize your resources, tap into your manager's knowledge, and you'll be successful.
Get your butt up out there and go to work. I mean, there's no secret. I mean, it's literally, you just got to go to work. Everybody's going to develop their own technique and their own skill, and I got plenty of things I can still be learning about it, but people have to get up. They just got to get out there. They got to go take some no's, just go try and just get to work. If you don't get to work, nothing's going to happen. And if you had a job and you didn't produce and you didn't sell, they'd fire you. So you got to treat it like, man, I'll fire myself if I don't go to work. So, but just the possibility of building up a residual income and building up it's like building up your own base salary. By building that up, man, that's exciting. Every month it grows as long as you're out there working and doing it.
And the biggest thing that hangs up a lot of people, in my opinion, is the fact that they don't want to get out there and knock on the door because they don't know everything. Well, you're never going to know everything in this industry. It is the bar none toughest industry I have ever been a part of. All you have to know is that you work for a great company,